Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your daily live Manchester United news, transfer news, and update news show. And we're going live at a bit of an unusual time, but there has been some big developments in regards to Antony and his potential exit. Now, there was some developments coming out about 2 hours ago from sources based in Saudi, but I was very skeptical about these sources based in Saudi. But these sources were saying that Antony's on his way to Al Nassr, Antony's in negotiations with Al Nassr, Antony's set to go to Al Nassr. But we've got a more credible journalist just come out and say that Al Nassr have sent in a bid for Antony. This is coming after yesterday's news that Antony is open to Al Nassr. Antony's agent confirmed yesterday he's open to Al Nassr, and in the space of 48 hours, it looks like something is really picking up. Is this a game to play Betis? Is Antony interested in Al Nassr? Well, Al Nassr wouldn't make a bid if they didn't feel Antony was interested. You know, we've got 2 days ago Sky Sports coming out saying that Al Nassr had interest in Antony. Yesterday, Antony's agent confirms that and confirms that Antony's open to the move. And now we're getting reports coming in that Al Nassr have sent a bid for Antony. We're going to talk about that. I think Benjamin Sesko is going to Newcastle. I don't 100% think he's what Manchester United need, and I think it's an expensive deal to do. But if Antony is sold, some money comes in, could United make a move for Sesko? Romano isn't ruling Manchester United out the race for Sesko, despite a Newcastle deal being advanced as well. We're going to talk about the striker situation. We're going to talk about other stuff going on as well. Oh. Someone said a Romano tweet. I'm just trying to check if Romano said something. I can't see anything from Romano. I've just updated. I can't see anything from Romano. But yeah, we're going to talk about some other news stories coming out in regards to Benjamin Sesko, the striker situation, and more. We will talk about centre mid. We want a centre mid. We haven't really been linked to anybody special at the moment. I think centre mid's going to go right down to the end of the window, but we have been linked to Javi Guerrera. But again, I don't think anything is advanced. But I'm going to say one thing before we get into the Antony news. Okay, how much if Chelsea are making good money for João Felix from Al Nassr, surely Antony's worth more than João Felix. João Felix went on loan and flopped. João Felix went on loan and he absolutely flopped, and he's been crap for a year, yeah? They have potentially got 50 million euros for João Felix, which is 42 million pounds. If Al Nassr are spending 42 million quid on João Felix, surely we should be getting 42 million quid for Antony. Just going to say that now. Al Nassr have agreed a deal to sign João Felix from Chelsea. Here we go, blah, 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 blah. They also want Antony. Okay, so let's talk about the news. Let's talk about the story. Let's talk about everything you need to know in regards to Antony. I'm going to get it up on my screen so you can see the sources, see the information, see that I'm not making it up, all of that good stuff. So, this has come out from a good source of information and sanity. Not David Ornstein or Romano level source, not like top level source, but a good level source. A journalist that has broken exclusives, a journalist that does get news. And he is coming out and he is saying that understand that Al Nassr have sent a bid to Manchester United for Antony, and that Al Nassr, who've just signed João Felix, also want Antony. Now, I don't know if you've been up to date with my latest shows, but yesterday we did a live show talking about Antony and what Antony's agent has said about Saudi, confirming Antony was interested in the move. The day before, Sky Sports came out and said that Al Nassr had interest in Antony. There's now talk coming out of a bid. Now, Al Nassr were interested. No, Al Nassr? Al Hilal were interested in Bruno Fernandes. They had talks with Bruno Fernandes, but they never made a bid for Bruno Fernandes because Bruno said no. Saudi clubs are now saying, well, we're not going to make a bid unless we get indication from the player that they are open to the move. Now, Saudi clubs have been rejected like crazy in the window. You know, they've been rejected by Bruno Fernandes. They've been rejected by Sesko, Edison, Osimhen. The Saudi clubs, the amount of rejection they've got this summer window has been absolutely crazy. So players like Antony that they might have not been thinking about a month and a half ago, or João Felix, all of a sudden they kind of want now. So that kind of explains some of the interest there. Someone said Sesko bomber. Has there been a Sesko bomber? I don't think we're getting Sesko, but we will see if there's been a Sesko bomber. I think Sesko is likely to go to Newcastle. But again, I haven't seen any. Oh, that's dangerous. I don't know how credible this is. Apparently, Sesko would choose United over Newcastle. I don't know how credible that is. I do not know how credible that is. Apparently, it's a good German outlet. Surely not. I don't really want Sesko. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I like Sesko, but I don't think he's the answer for Man United. But there is a report that Sesko would pick United over Newcastle, so we will talk about that. But let's talk about Antony. That would be quite funny, but I feel for Newcastle. Mate, Newcastle, James Trafford has gone to City, Delap and João Pedro have gone to Chelsea, and Boomer and Cunha have gone to Manchester United. Isaac's gone, Ekatika's going to Liverpool, Gay's going to Liverpool potentially. Sesko to Man United and Visser to Tottenham would just take the absolute mick. I don't think I think Sesko is going to go to Newcastle. But yes, we'll talk about that in a second. But going back to Antony, this is what was said earlier. Now, again, I don't think Man United are going to get Sesko. I think he's too costly. I want Mateta or Watkins. I would take Mateta or Watkins over Sesko because we need ready-made and proven. I think Newcastle's a better move for Sesko than Man United. If I was Sesko, I'd go to Newcastle over Man United because I think it's a better move for him. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Apparently, it's a good Leipzig outlet saying that Sesko prefers United to Newcastle. So we're going to give that story attention in a second. But I want to talk about this news because some people are skeptical. Of course, I'm skeptical about this move. Belabor any day of the week. Sesko or Belabor, not even a question. Belabor. Trust me. Any day of the week. But I want to get into this story. So I saw this news come out about an hour or two ago. So I was a little bit skeptical when I first saw this news story come out because I'm a bit like, okay, well, it's Saudi Arabian sources. They're not known for being the most credible, but the timing is interesting because of what Antony's agent had said yesterday. So reports are coming out that Antony is on his way to Al Nassr. So again, Antony reportedly on his way up to Al Nassr, and Al Nassr are in negotiations with Antony. Now, I don't think he's literally on his way to Al Nassr. I think we'd know if he was on a plane. Unless it's been approved and the medical's been approved, he can't get on the plane and go to Al Nassr. I don't think it's that advanced. But obviously, they're saying he's on his way to Al Nassr. It looks like he's going to be on his way to Al Nassr, I think is what they're essentially getting at. There's negotiations ongoing. And now Al Nassr have made their bid. They've made their bid for João Felix. They're now making the bid for Antony. We've obviously known they've made the bid for João Felix because that has been confirmed. So we could be getting some big advancements for Antony here. Or it could be something different. It could be something like Antony wants Betis. He knows Betis are going to wait to the end of the window to try and get him on loan. Basically, Amron said, we're not going to do a loan deal for you, so we'll just bring you back. He doesn't want to be brought back to Man United. Let's pretend he's close to joining another club to see if Real Betis all of a sudden cough up 30 million for Antony. It could be a game. It could be a game to get Real Betis interested. It could be a game. I don't know if it's a game. I'm not saying it's a game. But it could be a game, of course, to get Real Betis to speed up. But the breaking news coming out is that Al Nassr set a bid for Antony. Reportedly, the negotiations are ongoing and he's on his way to Real Betis. But interestingly, I want to talk about Benjamin Sesko. There's been a lot of stories going on Benjamin Sesko. Again, I like Sesko, good player, good talent, great signing for Newcastle, great signing for Arsenal. I don't think he's who Manchester United need. But obviously, we know on Benjamin Sesko that Romano said at the moment there's no official bid or negotiations for Manchester United in terms of Sesko. Romano said that yesterday. He said United have discussed Sesko internally. He said that United likes Sesko, but United have also discussed Jackson, Watkins, and more strikers. But he's saying, Sesko is still one to watch, but he said nothing is official with Sesko. He said, keep an eye on the Sesko story. Newcastle are going to make an important proposal for Sesko in the coming days. So United will discuss again because there'll be pressure on them if they do want Sesko to make a move now. Ruben Amorim has had, internal conversations about Sesko, but we haven't made the decision on Sesko yet. But he's saying United are going to have another discussion about Sesko in the next few days, is what's been said by Romano. Now, reports are coming out from what apparently is a good Leipzig source of information. Apparently, this is a good journalist when it comes to Leipzig, okay? That's what MUFC and PP2 is saying. That's what United Exclusive is saying. I don't know how credible that this journalist is, so we're going to take this with a pinch of salt. But some of the aggregators and some people on Twitter are saying this is a good journalist for RB Leipzig. And, well, if you didn't know, Sesko was at RB Leipzig. We obviously know Christopher Vivel has a very good connection to the club, who works at Manchester United. But there is now talk coming out that Manchester United and Newcastle United have registered their interest in Benjamin Sesko. No negotiations with both clubs yet, but Benjamin Sesko would prefer a move to Manchester United than Newcastle. Yeah. I mean, Newcastle are the king of L's this window, should this story be true. You got to feel for Eddie Howe. Thoughts? Just because he wants us over Newcastle doesn't mean we're going to get him. I think financially Newcastle are in a stronger position to get Sesko over the door. We like Sesko. We've had internal discussions about Sesko, but we've not entered negotiations. As of now, Newcastle United are the only team in negotiation with Benjamin Sesko. United do not have the funds to do a deal with Benjamin Sesko unless a sale happens. Now, interestingly, we're now talking and hearing news of an Antony sale pretty much very close. We're hearing updates that an Antony sale, could be close. He could be on his way to Saudi. They've put in a bid. So potentially, if we're getting 40 million for Antony, we could be in a different position if we're getting 40 million for Antony. We could very much be in a different position. Because if you get 40 million for Antony, all of a sudden, okay, really, we only make about 15 million because of book value and stuff. But maybe we're in a better but we get him off the wage bill. Maybe we're in a better financial position to go and make a move for a striker. We know that Manchester United want to sign a striker. We know it's absolute the next priority. And we know Benjamin Sesko is on the list. We also know Ollie Watkins is on the list. We also know Nicholas Jackson's on the list. And United haven't made a decision. I still think Sesko will go to Newcastle. But I think if Manchester United do sell Antony and Manchester United do decide to push ahead with Sesko because Villa are saying that Watkins isn't available and Nicholas Jackson is a little bit overpriced, then bring it on. Bring it on. It's not my first choice. It's not my pick. I would prefer Mateta or Watkins, but it's a good player that we've liked for a number of years. It's a good talent. It's a player that Christopher Vivell has followed. He's very highly rated. He's seen as potentially being the next Zlatan. I think with Sesko's jumping and heading ability, he would work really well with Brian Mbeumo with his jumping and heading ability. And apparently he's going to be available for 60 million. For his size, he's quick and he's athletic. And we could see with how Højlund was being asked to play yesterday that Amarin just wants a quick, athletic striker. And Sesko could be that guy. For me, I like Sesko. Good player, good talent. But we are buying potential with Sesko. I'm going to tell you this now. With Sesko, we're buying potential. He is good and he looks good in clips. And there's a great player in there. But he's still not perfect. And there's still elements of his game that is raw. And you need to remember that we are fully buying potential with Benjamin Sesko. Fully buying potential with Benjamin Sesko. But it would be a good deal. 60 million. 60 million. Someone say 60 million Sesko deal. 60 million. It's not bad. It's not a bad bit of business. It's not my first choice. It's not a bad bit of business. So if Antony does go, maybe there's funds there. But Antony needs to move to Saudi. Do you know what I mean? I would like Watkins, but Villa apparently don't want to do business. Watkins is also a lot older than Sesko, and we're looking at the same price tag. So I could see where United could push for Sesko. Something tells me, to be honest, that Newcastle could wrap up a deal for Sesko quick. Liverpool on the verge of selling Diaz, which means they'll then have their money to push ahead for Hijack. I think Newcastle will push to try and get a deal done for Sesko very quickly. So I still think that Sesko will end up at Newcastle. I still have a feeling he'll end up at Newcastle. But it's interesting that sources close to Leipzig are saying he would choose Man United over Newcastle, like Cunha did, like Mbeumo did. It's mad because Newcastle won a trophy. Newcastle got Champions League football. Newcastle looked like they were at the start of building something special, but everybody's just going, nah. Thank you very much, Same, for the super chat. Dalman Goyakes, who's that? Goyakes. I think I'm joking. I'm assuming Minyokeres will cook United on the opening day. Do you know what's going to happen, Zane? Do you know what's going to happen when we play Arsenal on the opening day of the season? It's going to be the last kick of the game. Matheus Cunha, finesse, cuts in onto his right foot, scores a winner, and Matheus Cunha is just going to run up to Old Trafford, Stretford End, like this. This is what we're going to see from Matheus Cunha when he scores the winning goal, and Manchester United beat Arsenal 3-2 on the opening day of the season. Matheus Cunha is going to pull out that. That's what Matheus Cunha is going to pull out. Trust me, Be worried. Be what? Nah. Big up to Zane. Big up for the super chat there as well. But like, guys, Mateus Cunha, guys, opening day goal versus Arsenal, popping out the Gyökeres celebration. What you love to see. That Max Dowman kid is a joke, though. I'm not even lying. That Max Dowman kid for Arsenal, 15 years of age. I was watching the Arsenal game before I went live, hence why I went live at this time. Max Dowman is absolutely ridiculous for 15 years of age. Yeah. I just triggered some kid on Twitter. I literally put on Twitter, Max Dowman's insane for 15. And some kid went, shut the F up, get inside the kitchen. And I've just absolutely triggered him on Twitter. Oh my God. I forget that some people get so triggered so easy. Do you know what? Twitter makes me laugh, guys. Twitter makes me laugh. You'll put something on Twitter and it will literally be the most... Sometimes I'll deliberately say things to rattle rivals, Liverpool, Arsenal, of course. But sometimes you'll say something like, this 15-year-old kid is good. And then one kid loses his mind. How dare you say this 15-year-old kid is good? Get to the kitchen, Alice. I'm like, look, if me saying a 15-year-old kid is a good player triggers you, you need therapy. Like you do. Like, you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm literally just praising a guy because he's very good for his age. Like, people, it's crazy that. But they do have that Dowman kid that is very good. And I tell you what, and this might be an unpopular opinion, I think he's better than Odegaard. From the 2 Arsenal pre-season games I've watched, he looks better than Odegaard. I'm not going to lie, Odegaard's very passive. I used to rate Odegaard, but I don't really rate Odegaard that much anymore. I'm not going to lie to you. Odegaard has to prove it this season because he was good 2 seasons ago, but last year dropped off. Odegaard's got to prove it this season. He's got quality, but the Max Dowman kid at Arsenal have some impressive. Do you know what? Aiden Heaven, Obi, let's go for Max Dowman. Let's go for Ineos. You know what to do. You know what to do, Ineos. We've taken Obi. We've taken Heaven. You know what to do. Max Dowman. I mean, look, JJ Gabriel is insane for his age. You know, I can't wait to see JJ Gabriel, but he's not on a preseason tour with United yet. You know, he's not playing with all of that yet. But honestly, that Max Dowman kid is insane. But yeah, back on topic. Basically, the news is that we're still having discussions about whether to go for Sesko or not. Newcastle making advancements. Newcastle the only team negotiating for Sesko. We need money to make a move for Sesko. We clearly like Sesko. Antony could be bringing in money. Al Nassr have apparently made a bid for Antony. So there could be some movement there. We're not walking away from the Sesko deal. That's sort of been said in regards to Sesko. But I still take Sesko news with a pinch of salt. Yeah, JJ Gabriel's a year and a half younger as well. There's always a worry about can we keep him or not, but there's definitely a talent there. There's definitely a talent there in JJ Gabriel. I mean, it's crazy. I honestly think like the kids these days, look at Yamal, it's just crazy how good players are at such a young age these days. Dowman is this 15-year-old for Arsenal. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, I don't like to praise Arsenal, but like, I think he's probably, for his age, the best 15-year-old in the country, for his age. Like, ridiculous. But yeah, let's continue on. I wanted to just give you an update in terms of why Mbeumo and Xerxes aren't playing at the moment. Obviously, 2 players that I think make our best front 3 in Cunha and Mbeumo Xerxes, and that is due to just fitness and stuff. Ruben Amorim made these comments. He said Mbeumo will not play in the next preseason game against Bournemouth, which is annoying. I've got to wake up at 2:30 and I don't even get to see Mbeumo play, which is annoying. But I guess you can only play him when he's ready. But the hope is to have him against Everton. And Xerxes recovering. So Xerxes, it doesn't look like we're going to see Xerxes or Mbeumo in the game against Bournemouth, which is a shame because I'd love to have seen Xerxes, Cunha and Mbeumo tried out before the first game of the season. But got to protect our players. That's something we got to do. If we sign Sesko, how many goals do you think he'd score? I think he'd get 11 Premier League goals, which some people might say is bad. I think for a young player, 11, you know, play him some games, play Xerxes the other games. Look, we want a 20-goal-a-season striker. I don't know if we can get that right now, but 11 is better than Højlund's 4. I feel like I would stick him at 11 or 12 goals, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. But I think Sesko got that kind of numbers, and yeah, Sesko got 13 goals in the Bundesliga last season and 14 goals the season before. So Sesko only gets 13 and 14 goals in 30 games in the Bundesliga, and the Premier League's harder. So I think 11 is a good number to say that that's what I think Sesko would get. Still can't believe we haven't signed Lemens, 17 million. I'm surprised we've not pushed for Lemens. Yeah, I thought we would get a goalkeeper before a striker, but maybe we're prioritising striker and then wait and see what happens with Bayendir. United want to sign a striker, they want to sign a goalkeeper, and they want to sign a midfielder. That has been confirmed. We want, apparently Emi Martinez is the first choice goalkeeper. We're not able to afford him. I don't know who the first choice striker is. I think it's Watkins, and then I'd say it's probably Sesko, and I think Watkins, it depends on his availability, and we want a midfielder. In terms of midfielders, I see us going in DD 5 million, something down that route, if I was going to be totally honest. I don't see where the funds are coming from. But if Antony is sold and goes to Saudi for 40 million, and let's say Garnacho is sold for 50 odd million, then what we can do in the window massively changes. We can definitely spend a lot more and do this and do that. So yeah, Sesko has a lot of potential, but coming from the Bundesliga to the Premier League will be difficult. I think the thing with Mbeumo is he came back to pre-season training maybe a week later than everybody else, so he needs to do an extra week of fitness before playing. I think that's what it is. I'd like to see him against Bournemouth. I'd like this to be mind games, but you're not going to do mind games for a pre-season friendly. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Xerxes, but I'm not sure. I don't think we'll see Xerxes in a Mbeumo next game. That seems to be the case. Antony is a big fan of Ronaldo, so hopefully that could push Antony more towards Al Nassr, who've reportedly put in a bid. Rashford made his Barca debut, did well. Got a pre-assist, did well. Nothing crazy, but yeah, Rashford was playing for Barca today, which is good stuff. But yeah, I'm waiting for some updates from Romano and Ornstein. I think with this Antony news, it's good news. It's positive news, but at the end of the day, we haven't got a Romano or Ornstein update on Antony, so we can't, we could say, oh, this is good, Antony's reportedly on his way to Al Nassr, great, new big, great, but until Ornstein or Romano confirm it, you just don't know. I can't trust the media until Ornstein and Romano confirm it. So with this Antony news, positive news, good indication, but remember, take it with a pinch of salt unless it gets confirmed by a tier 1 source. So I would say take this with a pinch of salt in regards to that. Any news on Sancho? Apparently he's still in negotiations with Juventus, but it's not that close. I think Juventus are going to wait to the end of the window and get Sancho on loan. Malacia having talks with Saudi again, so that's another one to keep an eye on. Not just Antony, but Malacia is in talks with Saudi. There was a report, but it came out from the Mail, so not the most reliable, that Luke Shaw was open to a move. So again, that could be one to watch. Garnacho is waiting to see if his transfer value will go down, apparently, if he waits it out this window. That's something that's been said as well. So anyway, we'll have to see with the sales. But right now it's Antony to Saudi, Malacia to Saudi. Let's see what happens with Garnacho. Rashford, I don't know. Casemiro is set to stay put. Apparently, Man United, if they sold Casemiro and got his wages out, they could actually go big on a midfielder. But we probably can only go small on a midfielder because of Casemiro, who will be technically going into the final year of his contract, but we have an option to extend that. Romano did say in regards to Sesko that the next week is going to be really important in terms of if there's any movement or advancements for Sesko. That was said as well. And I wanted to just speak about Maino because, guys, how good was Maino yesterday? Maino and Agate, best I've seen them play together yesterday. Pre-season, I know. West Ham, I know. You can only judge what you see. And I have to say, I was really impressed with Kobbie Mainoo yesterday. One of the best performances I've seen him have in a while. He was really good. Amram was saying he was really good. He was really good on the ball. And I think the way Mainoo and Agate played together yesterday was really good. So that's positive signs, because the biggest concern for me is over the midfield. And I'm not saying that we don't need a midfielder because Mainoo and Agate had a good game together. That would be ridiculous. It's one pre-season game. But that was an encouraging sign of how Mainoo and Agate worked together yesterday. We still need a midfielder. We still need a striker. Like Højlund looks sharper. We still need a striker. Mainoo and Agate look good together. We still need a midfielder. We still need a goalkeeper. Bayendir is shite. Anana's not good enough. And talking to goalkeeper, Vitek has actually just joined Bristol City on loan. So that's a good loan move for him. Reports in France are linking us to Lucas Chevalier and Donnarumma. I think Donnarumma is purely just, agent talk, using us for a new contract like Nuno Mendes did. But we have been linked to Donnarumma, which is an interesting one there. But yeah, the big one and the big interesting thing being said is obviously in regards to United wanting a keeper United want a midfielder. United want a striker. That's the plan. We still are looking for those players. Let's just hope that we make some sales and we can get those players, because yes, it was a good win versus West Ham, but it's still the players that finished 15th last season. And Boomer and Cunha, as good as signings they are, they're not going to change anything too big. They're not going to transform anything. So you've got to take that in mind. But listen, people, I'm going to wrap up today's video here. Thank you very much for watching today's live show. I'm going to go and redirect you over to Never a Foul. Give them a raid. They'll be talking all things football. Chevalier could be going to PSG. He'd be a good signing. Yeah, Arsenal should sign. I'm not gonna pronounce that right. Arte Eze for left wing. Arsenal should get Rafael Leao. I'm saying this now. Arsenal should be doing what they can to get Rafael Leao. It doesn't matter about work rate when you've got the hardest working team in the league. Your left wingers, Martinelli, Trossard, not good enough. Madueke is a right winger at best. You should get Rafael Leao. Anyway, thank you for watching. Go give Never a Foul raid. See you next time. Bye.